I'm in the car, usually it's because we're going shopping. So again, like our previous videos, we're going back to the junkyard. If you haven't seen those before, I'll put the link somewhere up here. I don't know. Anyways, so if we end up finding something at the end of the video, which you want to stick by and see, we'll be comparing the junkyard prices with the retail prices from eBay and dealership versus what we actually paid. So as we go shopping together, make sure you wear a sunscreen, wear a hat, don't wear white shoes, bring your tools, bring a bottle of water, and if you guys see any cars that you like, make sure you comment down below. We're curious to see what you guys are interested in. But yeah, we're almost there, so see you guys in a bit. It's kind of cool.
82 Honda Accord.
82 Honda Accord.
Manual.
Nice, nice.
This is what all the Netflix shows and Hulu shows set in the 80s failed to capture, just how brown everything actually was.
It's all kinds of brown. So the plan may or may not be that Red will somehow modify these taillights into the 280Z. The one that'll be the drift car. Perhaps. Perhaps. So this is the second Armada that we found, and this one has no rust. So we might need both the control arms.
So Nissan put the bolt in through this side, probably before the subframe gets put on the frame, instead of putting it through this side where we could get it out without taking the subframe down.
Dang. How the heck could we take it off on our own? I mean, you can't exactly carry something to cut that out, could you?
So we're gonna take these bolts, and if whenever we get to the part where we need to take ours off our patrol, we're just gonna cut this.
Yeah. So essentially, we were hoping to be able to get the control arms.
Should have gone in through here.
Because we need to fix. We're trying to fix the suspension situation on our patrol / Armada, but easier said than done.
3 weeks later.
Huzzah! Or to not even be the same as ours.
No.
don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to get kind of hungry. Do you guys want tacos? There's, I think it's too hot for ramen today. There's sandwiches. There's poke.
Mitsubishi GTO.
Mitsubishi.
They're called in the States 3000 GT.
3000 GT? Oh man.
These cars are super cool for their time. V6, twin turbo, all-wheel drive, four-wheel steering. In the late 80s, it was a little too much though.
Anyway, so there's tacos, there's poke bowls, there's sushi. What else? What else? Hamburgers. I don't know. You guys pick.
Look at the wee lamb. A tiny little baby turbo. Look at that.
He thinks it's people's.
Yeah, for comparison. It's actually in pretty good shape. Like, there's very little shaft play and it spins pretty good. It'd be a good turbo for like a go-kart.
That'd be the coolest go-kart in town.
When we were like in grade school, me and my best friend were like so set on building like a go-kart with like a lawnmower engine and like sticking like a turbo on it. Like we made all these drawings and stuff, even though we couldn't weld or fabricate at all. Still want to build that.
Is that a Super Woo? It's a red one. Oh. Oh, it's actually not that bad inside. Still has that nice car smell.
Still want one of these. Before I started building the Altima, this was what I was looking for, a Subaru wagon, Impreza wagon, and I was going to put an RB25 in it and try and keep it all-wheel drive. But I did end up finding an Altima, and yeah, now we're here.
What you got here?
35. Automatic. Yeah. It's a shame. Vandalized car. Just so you know, chemical guys better wet wax. Stuff that right out.
What's this?
Suzuki Kazashi.
Kazashi.
I've only seen like one or two of these on the road, and I've always been like really intrigued as to like what it is exactly, because it looks like an Impreza, sort of. I don't know, I just thought it was kind of cool looking. And growing up, I always thought Suzuki was like a super badass car brand, just because growing up playing Gran Turismo, you tend to find the Suzuki Escudo Pikes Peak version, and that's like the most badass car in the game. So I grew up thinking Suzuki was awesome, and turns out it's kind of meh, but still pretty cool.
So much for an inside tour.
It's like pretty nice.
Complete with sunroof. Oh yeah.
Sunroof melted? What the hell?
Interesting. Anything good?
Looks like just a four-cylinder, non-turbo. Alright, so ever since watching like the old option videos in Japan, seeing those guys have their little like car hauler trucks with their drift cars on the back, I've always wanted one of those, and the closest thing we have here is like Isuzu NPRs. And before we got the Patrol, I was actually like really looking for one because they're pretty cheap, especially if you get like an older high mileage one. You can get a working NPR for like 2,000 bucks, 3,000 bucks. And then we got the Patrol, and now we're too far in debt to really afford one. But and somebody else actually beat me to my plan, and he was on Hoonigan's channel with the baller hauler. The dude had a NPR with an LS swap, Alcoa wheels, and he had his drift car Corolla on top with matching liveries on both. It was the most badass thing ever. And now I kind of feel like if I did fulfill my idea, and it would just be copying him. So I guess I'll pass. We'll just have to do that when we get to Japan and buy an actual car hauler.
How much would it cost to actually import that sucker?
I don't know. Right now they're importing like the super small ones, like the K-truck size ones, and those are like 5,000 to 6,000, which still isn't really a bargain considering you can get a full size one that can haul a car for like 3. But
Mazda NX3.
MX3. These are pretty cool because these actually came with one of the smallest V8s ever made, or V6s ever made.
Smallest? Oh my god, it is so small.
This is the 4-cylinder though.
This is small ones.
Yeah, this is a 4-cylinder, but the V6s that came in these was like a 2.2 liter V6 or something like that. Something ridiculously small, or maybe it was a 1.8. I don't know, we'll have to look that up, but I'm pretty sure this car is the smallest V6 ever made when it was optioned with it, I guess. Some eBay lug nuts. Blocks Racing. I would say that's the reason this car is in here, but it doesn't look like it's crashed. Manual transmission sitting in the trunk.
Oh look, tiny little penises. Well, they had a good time. Well, I think that about wraps it up. So we ended up finding some taillights, the control arms off of an Armada, and I guess that's it. So later on, once again, we're going to show you guys what we end up paying for these things and how much we saved. Thanks for staying tuned with us, and we'll see you on the next one.